Good morning, beautiful morning. Such a transformation from last week. Well, I ended my last video at an A&W drinking root beer, and before that at Ralph Kentafio soccer complex. Well, I started this one at a different A&W and at a different soccer complex, the Shaughnessy soccer complex. Yeah, I can't even say soccer, it's supposed to be football. I'm choking the words out. Come on, Derby! Today brings me to the two neighbourhoods of Burrows. Burrows Keewatin and Burrows Central. They're not joined together, but I'm breaking one of my rules here and joining them with a little umbilical. And this is the walk I've done around it. But I think my alter ego is going to interject here. Alter ego interjecting here. Again, when I polled Winnipegger born and raised people on where perhaps to avoid in Winnipeg, this is what my brother-in-law had to say. I know metric tons of terrible areas. Even mentioned to S I was going to tell you to avoid. There's a lot. 100%. Please stay away from everything in and around Arlington going northbound. Everything from Mountain Avenue, Keewatin, death traps. Personally, I wouldn't walk that entire chunk of the city if someone paid me. Very dangerous. LOL. Iffy. Well, here we are. Arlington, Mountain and Keewatin. Death traps. Burrows Keewatin, which I'm in right now, is really old, established neighbourhood. So despite the warnings, it's actually quite pleasant around here. Don't know whether it's the weather. And Burrows Keewatin is dominated by this Manitoba housing estate, which I guess is the equivalent to a council estate in the UK. So low income housing for low income folks. Very peaceful here today though. It's Mother's Day. They're all inside seeing their mums. Currently walking through Burrows Central here. A really nice, well established old neighbourhood. And I am on the search for Margaret Scott Park. Margaret Scott was an all-round good egg. Many years ago she was the city's best stenographer, and she gave up that desk job to start doing good for the community. She would go and visit the poor. She built a house for out-of-work men, and she even fundraised for a nursing home where you could pay what you could afford, be that buckets of coal or a turnip, whatever you could afford. And she also introduced sort of free childcare, free medicine for children and mothers, young mothers. So she dedicated her life to doing really good stuff. And she got this park, which also has a skate park on it. Okay, we've left Arlington. We're now joining Selkirk, and down here is a street called Sergeant Tommy Prince Avenue, Sergeant Tommy Prince Street. I'm not quite sure, but let's go and have a walk up it. We're not going to go down Sergeant Tommy Prince Street. Something was going odd down there. I don't know whether it was a drug deal or something, but there was some shady characters in a truck eyeballing, looking at what I was doing. And it's always better to be safe than sorry. So most of the time, if something doesn't feel right, it's not right. So I got out of there. Sergeant Tommy Prince was the great-grandson of Chief Pegwis of the Soto Indians, who was absolutely instrumental in the safe settlement of the very, very first settlers that came to Manitoba. So the great-grandson, he was a master of marksmanship, of stealth, and of tracking from his days growing up in the forests, hunting animals. And it was this mad skill set that he had that allowed him to excel in the Canadian Army. So during World War II, Sergeant Tommy Prince made his way through the ranks, going on special operations that required stealth and marksmanship, got loads of medals, and at the end of it all, when he was brought back into civilian life, got absolutely nothing from the government. No healthcare, no housing, no money, nothing at all. And the reason was because he was Indian, he was indigenous, so didn't have the same rights as everybody else. Well, he sold off his medals to survive. He fell into depression and alcoholism. But ultimately rose above all that nonsense and made changes so that today, because of him, the indigenous soldiers are recognised and are treated equally like everyone else. The family did locate his medals and bought them all back. They're in a museum somewhere now. But Sergeant Tommy Prince gets streets named after him. He's got statues, all manner of good stuff to commemorate that dude. Far better than naming a park after a politician. Well, for the most part, that was a nice walk. Nice weather, a couple of interesting things to see, but I kind of have to go with my brother-in-law on this one. It's not somewhere I would particularly want to roam around again, but at least I can cross it off my list. So thank you Burrows Central, and thank you Burrows Keewatin.